Welcome back, folks. Sport Federation TV. We keep talking about sport in the province, across the Western Cape, across the districts. Well, of course, many of you will know that one of our sporting codes in South Africa, in fact, is table tennis. Table tennis themselves have been on Sport Federation TV on a number of occasions over the years. We've been able to showcase table tennis. We'll know just how successful table tennis has been. Well, certainly the last interview we had was from table tennis structures up in the West Coast. But now it's time for us to focus on the Cape Town region. On the line with me now is Kelvin Smith. Kelvin is the vice chairperson for table tennis in Cape Town. Kelvin, welcome to Sport Federation TV. How are things there with you, sir?
Good morning, JP. Quite fine, quite fine. We're just happy that we can be active again and back on the board. So we are all very happy about that.
Is that what you call the table tennis table? Is it called a board or do we call it a table?
It depends which angle you come from. It's a table tennis board, but most people just say table.
I suppose you guys were quite, before we talk about the table tennis, you guys must have enjoyed watching the table tennis at the Olympics.
Yes, we actually had an Olympian there at the Paralympics, Mr. Theo Kogel.
Yes, he's been on the
One
show
of
with us before.
Yes, yes, yes. He did fairly well, although he didn't progress to the latter stages. He played against very strong players. All of the players he played was categories above him, number 21, number 5, and number 4 ranked in the world. So he had a tough draw, a really tough draw. But
But
he handled himself well.
still proud for us to have a representative at the Paralympics and also at the Olympics. You had Genevieve going there for her fourth technical appearance.
Yes, this was actually a first in another sense, as Genevieve is the first female referee in Africa that was elected to be at the Olympics.
Yeah, absolutely incredible achievements, Calvin. I mean, that must be amazing for Cape Town table tennis. For you guys as the structure to know that you've got local representatives, folks from Cape Town at an international event like that. What does that mean for the other athletes? For the athletes who are watching from the sidelines? I mean, they must be very proud. They must know that there's something to aspire to.
Look, you always need to have a trendsetter or somebody to do something first. Nobody thinks something is possible until it is being done.
Yeah.
Then the possibilities open. People say, but if that person can do it, then I'm also able to do it. I can aspire to do the same, or I can aspire to do better.
Calvin, you guys got a big event coming up on the 23rd and 24th of November. Just tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes, finally we can be active. We can have some competition going down to level 1. We are just awaiting confirmation from the national body if we can have spectators, although it's been government gazetted. We do not want to step on any toes and we don't want to break any rules and regulations. But on the 23rd and the 24th of October, that's a Saturday and Sunday, we are having the Cape Town Open Table Tennis Tournament. We've already received, I think the last is 320 entrants already, which is fairly big. So you can see the hunger and the eagerness to play again is there. And it's not only from the Cape Town region, it's from all other regions that people entered. I think it's also due to it being a ranked tournament. You have to apply for ranking points, and we've been successful in being granted permission to have it as a ranking tournament. So the players come to gather ranking points to be obviously in the top 10 to make it more eligible for them for selection for the national team.
So, just explain to us a little bit more about that, Kelvin. How does the ranking work? When you say you have to apply for ranking, is that a national database, and is it based on the number of competitions that you play in? How does the system work?
Yes, the system is actually, it's got some protection mechanism in because not everybody is always able to afford to go to ranked tournaments. So you will get the kid or the player that is not as good a competitor, but is able to attend all the ranked tournaments. So then there's an anomaly. So you get weaker players that rank higher, etc. So there's a protection mechanism. You can only play in a certain amount of ranked tournaments and then gather maximum points on that. So it's also a bit of a protection for the quality players that cannot afford to go to all the tournaments.
How much preparation do the athletes have to do? I mean, you've got this Open Championships then on the 23rd and 24th of November. How much preparation do the athletes have to do?
This is actually the sad part for table tennis as a sport. Uh, we don't have a dedicated venue for table tennis. Nowhere in South Africa is there a dedicated venue for table tennis. Although in Gauteng and some other regions, people have started to privatize essentially uh, table tennis in essence to get some venues and make a little bit of an income out of it. It's still a difficult thing, but if you have a venue, then obviously you can have maximum training. We are dependent on community centers, school halls, etc. So application have to go in. Sometimes there's a delay in the answers, and those delays causes not being able to practice. And with COVID, it was a tremendous downturn in the table tennis where we couldn't have access to any venue in essence. So most clubs get a venue for 2 nights per week, which is totally inadequate because you have a match night, although we haven't been playing matches really, and then you have a practice night. We have to self-generate funding. Given the Department of Culture and Affairs and Sport helps a little bit with funding, but it's a ring fence for certain projects within the sport, as with all other sporting codes. So there's not really funding coming in, and the corporates don't see the value of table tennis as a whole. I always tell people that table tennis and darts is probably two of the only sports that everybody have contact with, because somebody's got a dartboard, a table tennis board in the garage. So you,
Yeah.
you don't find a soccer ball in the garage, really, things like that. So it's really difficult. You can have all the talent in the world if you do not have the facility to be able to practice. You're never gonna really be competitive with them.
Calvin, but let's just quickly talk about the 23rd, 24th of November. Just tell us, obviously, I mean, we're no spectators, that still has to be worked out. But where will you be playing and what time does the event start?
Yes, we've been fortunate over the last 10 years. We've had some really good working relationship with the city of Cape Town, and we thank them for availing the venue to us. It will be at the Belhar Indoor Sports Centre.
Right.
It's situated at number 1 Proton Street in Belhar. It's next to the Northlink Building College, and
Yes.
it's just behind the railway line, behind the University of the Western Cape.
You've got just over 300 athletes participating there on the day. Are you expecting that? Do they play multiple times or do you play once as a knockout format? How does it work?
Okay, what we found in the past was that you pay a certain amount for entry, obviously, and then you play one match and you're knocked out, and then it's actually a waste, and you don't gain any experience. Um, then we brought in a plate system. So if you knocked out in the first round or after your first loss, you can play in a plate section. But we found that still you have 2 games maximum. So we've done away with that. We've basically done away with the plate section. Obviously, if we have more time and more space, we can look at a plate section again because it will give ample playing time.
Yeah.
But what we've done is we the first round is now group stages. So
Okay.
depending on the amount of entries, there will be either 3, 4, or 5 players in a group, depending on the amount, obviously. So you will play at least minimum 2, maximum 3 matches in the group stages,
Yeah.
and then the top 2 progresses to the next round, and then it's knockout stages. So we're trying to make it as much table tennis as possible for each and every participant.
That's very exciting. Calvin, we look forward to catching up with you again and finding out how the event went. Hopefully, there's some sponsors that start knocking on your door to help funding the table tennis. Certainly, if city officials are watching at the moment, maybe they'll be paying attention so that we make sure that there's facilities for table tennis. But we'll leave it at that, and we wish you the very best of luck. And of course, hope that the athletes have a lot of fun.
Thank you, JP, and thank you for the opportunity for us to talk to you, to talk to the viewers, and hopefully we had some willing ears from the corporates.
Absolutely. We'll keep putting them on TV. Then they can't say no. Thanks,
You.
Kelvin. There we go, folks. Kelvin Smith is vice chair for table tennis in Cape Town. They've got their championships happening in Belhar on the 23rd and 24th of November. And of course, as you heard, lots of participants, and of course, athletes from Cape Town are making a noise. They're getting attention. They're getting attention at the Paralympics. They're getting attention at the Olympics. Certainly keeping South Africa on the map. And of course, a lot of plans for table tennis. So if you are out there and you're corporate and you want to get involved, sponsor table tennis. Help table tennis stay on the map. And we're looking forward to giving table tennis as much exposure as possible, as you know, as we do. And folks, we'll tell you, don't go away. Come back after the break when we carry on talking about sport in the province. Back in a sec.